We have some breaking news from the NHL. We have a pretty significant trade again between the Anaheim Ducks and the Philadelphia Flyers involving Trevor Zegras. We'll discuss the details coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some breaking news. We have a pretty significant trade to discuss here this afternoon between the Anaheim Ducks and the Philadelphia Flyers. We have a big deal that went down here. We heard reports this morning from Elliot Friedman just a few hours ago that the Anaheim Ducks were involved in trade talks around Trevor Zegras with a variety of teams, and he thought there was a good chance he'd be traded this week. Well, didn't take long at all. Within a couple of hours, we have a deal. So Trevor Zegras has been traded to the Philadelphia Flyers. The return is Ryan Poehling, a 2025 second-round pick, so that's this year's draft. That's pick number 45, and a 2026 fourth-rounder. So that doesn't seem like a lot, but you got to remember, Zegras has been kind of on the downswing here the last couple of years. His value hasn't been great. I really think that the Ducks were hoping that things would have been better for him last year, because there's been a lot of talk about Zegras in a trade for quite a long time now, probably at least a year, and it never came together. I think there was lots of conversations, lots of teams had inquired. Pat Verbeek had considered it, but the asking price was always too high, and he didn't want to give him up as like an undervalued asset. But he's kind of drug it on as long as he could, and that sounds like that's what he's done. Not getting a first rounder, not getting another high end prospect. For somebody who was drafted as high as Zegras seems like a really great deal for the Flyers. But you just got to remember, Zegras has had some down years and some struggles, which is why the value is what it is. He put up the last 2 seasons. He's been injured a fair bit as well. 32 points in 57 games, 15 points in 31 games. It's not far off from like a half a point per game, basically. And when Zegras was drafted, pretty highly by the Ducks, there was a lot of people thought he was going to be a number one line, like a first line player, putting up some big numbers to be a star. I mean, he had a couple of 60-point seasons and very early in his career. Of course, got to be on the cover of the EA Sports NHL game. Like, things were progressing in the right direction. I'm not quite sure exactly what happened, but I think to some degree, I don't think he really seen eye to eye with Verbeek and Cronin when he was there. I know they asked a lot of him to change his game to become more defensively responsible and kind of round things out, which isn't really, I don't think any of that was unfair or anything, but it just seemed to really hamper him being productive. And now it's a fresh start for him in Philly. Gets to rejoin one of his best friends in Jamie Drysdale. I know when the Ducks traded Drysdale, Zegras was pretty bummed about that. They became very, very tight and said best buddies. Of course, at one point they were rivals in the World Juniors, Canada, U.S., of course, but became best friends on the Ducks. And when Drysdale was moved for Cutter Gauthier, it was certainly, was a big bummer for Zegras. Not that you can control those things, of course, in hockey. It's a business side of things that players understand, but getting to rejoin him, I think, will be fun for him. Gets to a new team, new coach, new GM. I don't know how Rick Tocchet will see Zegras. I mean, I guess if I had a concern about this, that's, obviously we know Rick Tocchet likes, heavy hockey, straight line hockey, dump and chase hockey. Like, that's not how Zegras played. So I wonder if Rick Tocchet will kind of make some adjustments to how he coaches this year, employ a different style with a different roster. But I know that's part of what, him and Elias Pettersson didn't really, I don't know, I don't want to say they had didn't have a great relationship, but like, it just seemed like, there were some issues there. And I think it was a lot of it just, it's not the kind of player that Tocchet prefers. That's how it seemed to me anyways, but we'll see. I think there's lots to like about the trade for Philly. I just hope that Zegras works well and fits well with Rick Tocchet, because it's not a player that when I think of Rick Tocchet, Zegras isn't the kind of player that jumps out at me as being a Rick Tocchet guy. But let me know what you think in the comments. Low return for the Ducks, but they get some cap space, which they don't really need, but they get some more cap space back. They get a few draft picks. They sell low, and obviously they were hoping for a better outcome here, but ultimately things haven't worked out between the Ducks and Zegras the past couple of years. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.